House of Ramirez does not do sports, politics, or religion. However, understanding that the city elections are this year and how impactful and important it is for all of us Atlantans, I have decided to open my platform to politics, to give a fair shot to each running candidate to tell their story. This conversation needed to happen, and we are having the conversation for the love of community.
Hey guys, this is House of Ramirez. You already know what's up. We out here in the hot streets of Atlanta. We're representing big. Now, y'all know I put the spotlight on successful entrepreneurs, community members that are doing big things to support and help us, right? I don't do politics. I don't do religion. I don't get into that. But I felt that it was only right to highlight candidates running for District 5. Without wasting any more time, I'm gonna go ahead and bring out our neighbor, our community advocate, Sam Bacote. Can you please go ahead and tell us who you are and where you are from for our audience that does not know you yet?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And yes, I'm Samuel Bacote, one of the candidates of City Council District 5. I live in North Almwood Park, the Glenwood Park Homeowners Association area. In fact, I'm vice president there. Been there, that area for the last 5-6 years. Before that, I lived in Candler Park, lived in downtown, midtown. In fact, for a period of time, I had no car. I got around on public transit when I lived downtown. I was born and raised on the west side, over in West Atlanta, Southwest Atlanta in particular. Went to school here in Atlanta, APS all the way. Northside High School grad, Morehouse College grad. From there, went to UNC Chapel Hill. I got an MBA, been in business. I've been in public service, but never a public official, elected a public official, but still public service, community service for nearly all my life. It was ingrained in me, so it's kind of in my DNA. My grandmother was a state rep in the 70s, and she pushed me to get into the community. My grandfather was very involved in some of the early, I want to call them like progressive campaigns of our leaders like Andrew Young and Maynard Jackson. So I watched all of that as a child and just kind of got imbued with it. And so it's important to me to make sure that, as my grandmother said, find your gift, give it away, use it in the community, make sure you make it a better place before you leave. And so after UNC Chapel Hill, did some time in DC working for IBM, and I really got to a point where I had to do something more. Peace Corps volunteer came up and I did that in Ghana, West Africa. I did some tremendous things over there in business with some small scale business owners. Came back to the States, was in Boston for a couple of years where I was in school at the Kennedy School. Came back to Atlanta and I've lived since then on the east side and just been really immersed in in the community. Involved behind the scenes mostly with nonprofit organizations, from Alternate Life Pass program to community, Project Community Connections, Inc. Sorry about that. To Sadie G. Mays Health and Rehab Facility, PAP Foundation, just a number of organizations been involved with, and I'm also the executive director. My full-time job is an executive director of the fraternity that I belong to, Sigma Pi Phi. And I have a family, wife, 2 kids. They're well-adjusted teenagers. They're very supportive of me and my efforts. In fact, I wouldn't be doing any of this but for the support of my family, so I thank them. And that's in a nutshell. I mean, in my spare time, I like to ride my bike, I like to play tennis, and also officiate high school football on the weekends.
That's amazing. So thank you for that, Sam.
Sure.
You know, you're of the community, you're a family man, and you're giving to our community the best way you can. You know, you've been in the community for so long, and that's something we need to pay attention to, because for so long we have people that don't know what we go through as a community and they want to dictate what we do. Shout out the west side of Atlanta. Also east side, because, you know, I represent the east side very big, but shout out the west side of Atlanta. It holds a very rich culture for who we are today as Atlantans. So yeah, big shout out to your family too. I want to go ahead and start asking you some questions to just pick your brain, you know, just slight political questions, nothing too fancy. But I want to go ahead and feel where you're coming from, you know? So I want to ask you, what do you consider to be the top 3 issues for your district? Now, I will say a lot of our audience don't understand what the seat that you're running for is. So if you don't mind, can you please explain what that seat is before you get into the 3 issues that we have in this district?
Yeah, and I'd like to start even a slightly different way. You said some things that brought to mind, for me at least, about being of the community. I like to think that I'm a servant leader. I'm not a, before we get on this call, I put my ego somewhere else. I mean, this is really about, for me, when I'm out talking to people and even talking to you, really what's in it for you and what's in it for all of us. It's not about what's in it for me. I'm not with an agenda. I'm not like trying to be understood. I mean, I try to understand first. I'm not trying to be heard first. I'm trying to hear you first, listen to you first. And that's how I operate. It's people first. So when it comes to serving this district, for me, it's people first, neighborhoods first. That's how it's going to work. And that's how it should work and will work with me, put it that way. As a council person, and I got asked this question, in fact, just yesterday. And as I was explaining it to this person who wasn't quite keyed in and wasn't quite clued in on what the whole council thing is, you know, you've got different parts, different branches of the government. You've got the executive branch, you've got the legislative branch, you've got the judicial branch. Well, the council is like the legislative branch. So we're in the, you know, the local laws, the ordinances, the zoning stuff, the permit stuff, all that's what the council handles. Trying to make sure that things are orderly. So again, it sets the rules, if you will, for the city to function. We're not executive, that's the mayor's office. We're not trying to run the city, but we're trying to set the rules, the parameters of how things should function in the city. And that's what a council person does. And there are 12 districts. There are 3 at large, so there are 15 people. To get anything passed or done, you need 8 votes, as I've heard so many times. So it takes a person who can build relationships. And I think that's one of the qualities that I have that'll make for an effective council person. So that's what a council person, I believe, is about, and how you can be an effective council person. You got to be a natural relationship builder with not just people in your district, because that's important too. I like building coalitions and kind of getting people coming together and then championing whatever, again, as a group we want to do. And then going to council, and then you got to do the same thing with those other council people there to get anything done. Which leads me to this. I mean, what I'm hearing about the issues in the district in particular, and it all boils down to really, and I think we're kind of woke now. We kind of like everyone's thinking about equity and thinking about injustice and want more justice and thinking about fairness and equality. And a lot of that has to do with the issues. I mean, think about housing is one of them, and people talk access, you know, so it's about access and equity. So I believe one of the issues in the district is trying to find a way to expand the reach and the availability of affordable housing. That's one that's big to me. Another one is just addressing the inequalities that are in District 5. You know, you got income inequalities, you got transit inequalities, you got infrastructure inequalities, and that's just not District 5, but it is District 5, but it's also across the city. There are just so many inequalities now that need to be addressed, and we need to make sure, and now's the perfect time because everyone's kind of woke to this. So inequalities, affordable housing, but you can't leave out there all by itself. You can't leave out there all by itself crime, because crime is also tied to some of the inequalities. So I've mentioned 3, there are others, but for me, the big ones are trying to find ways to reduce crime. And it's not on the front end, it's about finding the right way to help those who feel like they've been not fairly treated, who feel like they only have one way out, don't have much of a promise or hope to get a good paying job, and they resort to crime. So finding special things for them to make them feel a part of us. Because for me, it's about making sure everyone in District 5 has some sense of thriving, you know, some sense of that, not feeling left behind, feeling a part of everybody else. And I think with this woke attitude, we can do that. Everyone's the right temperament and the right mindset now to address some of these issues. So those are, for me, the big 3s, you know, reducing crime, affordable housing, getting more of that. And that's going to take some work, affordable housing, because District 5 is a robust area of the city. It might be the most robust in terms of growth. It is growing tremendously. I was looking at some numbers the other day, and percentage-wise, I mean, if you just look at what District 5 was 5-10 years ago, it's almost turned into another of itself. I mean, it hadn't doubled, but it's going to get there. And so the challenge for us is going to be, how do we, you know, how do we welcome the new capital, the new house that's got to come, which is going to bring new people. How do we do all that and balance that with that growth with protecting what I call the culture, which is the legacy, kind of what's here, the people who are here now, and then welcome the new people. That's a big challenge for us, a big issue for us as we move forward. So with affordable housing, it's going to come to this challenge to make sure that we can welcome everybody.
Well, I love that, Sam. I really appreciate you touching up on a lot of key points that affect all of us. Housing is something that, regardless of what part of town or what state in this country you live in, it impacts you. We all need a roof over our head, but we need to be able to afford it. So, you know, having that ability to build those relationships that you were mentioning earlier is important. So we can tackle all key points and crime as well, but understanding it from behind the scene, from a different perspective. Now, you know, many of us have people that have been part of the system because of trying to survive, you know, so it ties in all together, understanding why the crime is happening and why is it happening in that area. So when you get to the why, you're able to solve the problem. Now, mind you, we're not going to completely eradicate crime because that would be illogical, but we can help who needs help, because ultimately it's usually somebody just trying to survive. So I want to thank you for that, for touching base on that. And I want to highlight how you were mentioning you want to be inclusive and you want to, you know, pretty much preserve the culture as you're including everybody into what you're working with, you know, working on. That's important. Atlanta kind of shapes the world. Atlanta is a trendsetter. When the whole nation shut down, Atlanta was alive and running. And, you know, people look to us to start trends. People look at us to see what we do. So it's important that we have key players in preserving who we are. You know, you can't manhandle us. So I want to appreciate that. And then you also touched up on, you know, inequalities in different areas too for this district. And I think it plays in with also what you said, paying attention to the new capital coming in. Stuff has been changing for 3 to 5 years, as you mentioned, but it's changing even faster now. And it's important that, you know, as a collective, we're all paying attention to that. We need to adapt to change. We can't be stagnant. And we cannot force people out because they come with big money, they come with new rules, and we need to work together to make it work in our favor to be progressive. And I'm all about that. So I love the fact that you're touching up on those key points. I want to ask you, what makes you want to do this job? Like, there's always a motivation. Of course, you mentioned that you have family that served in you know, in politics. You have done behind the scenes work to help the community. But what was that moment that just triggered you to say, I want to run? So what is your motivation, Sam?
My motivation is the people that I see, that I've come in contact with. You mentioned my family, that's a part of it. So I saw my grandmother sacrifice, and it is a big sacrifice. And I wouldn't be doing this but for, I mentioned I call them well-adjusted teenagers. They can probably, you know, handle this because you are away from your family a lot as any elected official, even campaigning. I wouldn't be doing this but for, again, the fact that my family's supportive. That motivates me when I look at them and they're saying, Dad, or Sam, husband, whatever, the boo, whatever, baby, you know, whatever. They're saying, get out there because we think you got something to give to the rest. And we're willing to share you with them. So that's important. That's a big motivator for me. And again, when I just kind of see people in general, I mean, even when I go out in District 5 and I see between the haves and have-nots, especially the have-nots, when I see them, I want to be a part of the solution to helping them kind of bridge that gap. Atlanta is known as one of the worst cities when it comes to that gap between the haves and have-nots. We've got to find a way to be, you mentioned Atlanta being, I think you said a great city or a trendsetter. You know, we got to find a way to make sure that we become one of the greatest cities of all that creates opportunities for all its people. That's just the bottom line. You know, I don't like walking by. I don't think anyone does. I mean, but you know, walking by someone who doesn't have the good fortune of being able to, you know, get up, go to work, you know, come home, kiss a wife, you know, hug some children, whatever, and have a house, a roof over their head, you know, just a place they can call home. And there are just too many people out there like that who don't have that fortune. And so that's a part of the motivator too. I truly believe that, you know, again, this kind of giving back is a part of what my mantra really is. And it's a part of my ideology. I mean, you know, just making sure that we should all be doing a role. And for the most part, you know, we all have to take ownership of this. We vote, and everyone should vote. Or, you know, in this instance, I'm voting and I'm running. I mean, you know, you vote or you run, you do something, because if you don't vote, you can't complain. If you're not out there doing something, and voting is an important part of that, then you forfeit your right to complain. You just lose it. So we got to all do something. And so it's important to pay attention to what's going on. And all of that motivates me. This city, I mentioned, again, I'm a native Atlantan, and so I love this city dearly. Left and came back. I mean, I've seen other cities and I've always enjoyed coming home whenever I was away. And then when I come back, but now I'm back and I've taken roots and I'm not going to leave again. This is what, well, let me say that. I won't say I'm going to leave again because something could happen. and I'll say this about that. I get asked, well, in terms of serving on the council, kind of like, what are your intentions? And what I'll say is this: I am not a career politician. I am not looking at this as some stepping stone or some way of breaking into something different that's going to be long lasting. This to me is a moment in time when I think it's perfect for me, kind of the perfect storm. It's perfect for me to offer myself to service for this community. And this point in time is a point in time. And this point in time will not last for 10, 15, 20 years. God bless the current council person, 20 some years. But no, I'm looking at this right now, and I say it lightly and kind of softly, but it's a term. I'm looking at what I can do in a term. Now, I think given my experience, my relationships, I have a very flat learning curve, can get a lot done in a term. I know if you're the bathroom is, I kind of know what things are. So it's not going to take me long, the learning curve and all that. It's not going to take me long to kind of get up to speed. And it could be that at the end of one term, it might be time, now it could lead to a second term, but again, I'm not looking at this like some career. My motivation is to get in there, serve the people, serve the neighborhoods, do the job well, and feel satisfied that I've given back. That's my biggest motivator, to kind of get in there, do this job well, be of service, address the issues that I see out there, play my role. We all should play a role in that. And then, like I say, where it goes from there, I don't know. But my point is that could lead to, I said I'll never do Atlanta again. I'm not gonna say that, but I do love this city so much.
Facts. So pretty much you're wanting to come in and get shit done. And then, if second term comes by, then second term comes by, but you're determined into coming in and solving issues. So that's a great promise to make, being able to just give what you can. And realistically, when we think about politicians, we hear all these promises, but being able to give what you can give, that's realistic. And we have to be realistic. And like you were mentioning earlier, we're in like the middle of a huge awakening. So more and more people are tuning in. So it's like, you got it. That whole facade, the blurred mirrors, the lies, that's just out the window. Like, we want real, we want solutions, we want straight up, we want people from where we're from, we want people in situations that we've been in. So I agree. So that's what's up.
And let me tell you a story about being in situations that led me, in fact, to moving to District 5. I was in Candler Park for decades, so that's not District 5, but was in a house that was larger than where I am now, if you want to put it that way. And we discovered around that time when we were there that my wife and that our daughter had a learning disability. And we had to put some extra resources behind her. And so there was a choice to make. We could, if you were downsize and move, kind of leave. We were in District 2, could leave it and found, more affordable house in District 5, place to live, where we weren't sort of burdened by the stress of, a larger house, and then take care of our daughter. So we all got choices to make. We made a choice, again, 5-6 years ago when our daughter discovered at least to have a learning disability, and we haven't looked back since. So we all have been there. We can relate to each other. Like I said, there's been a time when I didn't have a car. That was partly a choice, but also probably a necessity too. I have, like others have had to make choices and hard decisions and struggles and whatever. I've been through them too.
Shout out to you and your wife for making the best decision for your children. It's all about the children. They are our next generation. They are our future, and we need to focus on them. Of course, what we can do now in our time for people around us, which is essentially our community, but focus on our kids, because the way we focus on them will impact our future. So big ups, big kudos to you and your wife. Some people would take the selfish route and just be like, I'm gonna hire somebody to take care of that, but you guys chose the future, chose to help your family, and family's big. All right, so I want to go ahead and ask you, what do you bring to the job that is unique to you? Many people, they can pat their head and rub their tummy at the same time. But what is unique to you that you bring to this seat that you're running for?
Yeah, it's probably the track record of just passion that I think I've demonstrated over the last 20, 30 years of making, at least helping make this city a more prosperous and a better place. So it's probably that track record. And I wouldn't say that really any of the candidates, we got some great candidates in this race, are better than or got something that's so much more distinguishing than the other. But I do think I bring some considerable, what I'm going to call civic and leadership experience to the table. That'll make me a different kind of candidate. I think that's what it is. So it's the passion, and then it's the combination of my civic and leadership experiences that make me a little bit different than the others. Not necessarily better than the others, because I think we all bring stuff to the table and can all do different kinds of things. But I think that what we need right now is the kind of level of civic engagement that I've had to be brought to the table, kind of leadership I've had in the past to help us solve some of these issues.
I love the fact that you understand that this is a positive platform. This is the spotlight on you. This is a situation where it's all about you, and you're still humble with it. You're not bashing anybody, and you're just highlighting that everybody's great in their own way and what you're bringing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know what you did, but yeah, I know all of the, of course myself, but I know all the candidates, and I think we're all, we're different, but we all bring to the table something that can, I think, add to the prosperity of District 5. And no matter what happens, in fact, there's going to be an outcome. There will be someone elected to be council person. I would hope to see that all of us continue to be involved and engaged, because we're all doing things now that are making a difference, and we've done things that have made a difference, and I'm pretty sure we'll continue to do things in the future that will make a difference. And District 5 is fortunate. I mean, if you look at just who we got, other council races, other districts. I just think that we got a top-notch candidate field in District 5. We're very fortunate.
Most definitely, I would definitely agree, because we in all parts of the city. I want to go ahead and just mention the city is amazing. We're a great city, but we can make it better. And I love the fact that in different parts, specifically my soft spot, District 5, we have a great group of people wanting to do more. And like you mentioned, hopefully, after this decision is made, whatever the outcome, we continue to all, walk together in this path to help our surroundings, to help our communities. So yeah, I love it. So I want to ask you, why should we vote for you over other candidates? Now, I believe there's like 4 more other candidates running for this seat for District 5. Why should we vote for you, Sam, than other people?
Yeah, and somewhat touched on kind of the why part, my experience, my passion. I think that is a part of it. But I hope to go back at least to something I said and present this and represent this throughout as the council person. Again, not knowing the styles, kind of the council or the leadership styles of the others completely. From what I've heard in talking to people, everyone just wants to feel like they're at the table, that they're a part of what's going on, that they're being heard. And that fits so well with my style. I'm a great relationship, I believe I am. I've done a good job of building relationships, listening to people. As I mentioned, I think I did earlier, I seek to listen first and to understand you first before the other way around. And I think that's what most people really want. They want to know that their opinions matter, that they have some kind of impact. And I'm just going to champion what we all want. I'm not, again, the ego is back over there somewhere, and not to say that other candidates won't or could be, council people like this. I just know how I'm going to be. And that's what I put out front. Then with me, you're going to get, I think you mentioned authentic earlier, you're going to get someone who's going to be for you, listening to you, trying to seek you out, your opinions out before doing anything. Council has to vote on issues. I'm not going to be voting the Sam way. I'm going to be voting the District 5 way. Now we got a city to think about too. But for the most, I'm District 5. So I'm going to represent District 5 all the way through. And that's why I would vote for me. And I'm going to vote for me, of course, because I'm somebody who's going to represent District 5 all the time. You're going to get what you see. I'm going to tell you what I think, but then ultimately I'm going to listen to you. So if you want someone who's promising right now to be about people first and neighborhoods first, vote for Sam Bacote.
Most def. So pretty much what I heard was that you're a good listener. You listen to the people specifically here in District 5, and you're all District 5. So I love it.
Can I get you to be my spokesperson? And that was great. You put
right
on the money.
So representation is big, that's what House of Ramirez is all about. Wherever you stand strong, stand firm, and represent, to the full. So I appreciate that. District 5 is our heart, is our community, and that's what we're all about. So I'm glad to hear that. I'm big on shout outs. House of Ramirez does shout outs every episode. We need to make sure to highlight people that's been in our corner supporting us, because we are essentially great because it takes a village. So I want to go ahead and give you my platform so you could go ahead and shed light on people that's been holding you down in your personal life and in your career. A short list, of course, but give us that shout out, that House of Ramirez shout out of people that's holding you down, bro. And also give us your social media handles so we could go ahead and follow you and support you.
Me down. All right. I was thinking about lifting me up, but okay, hold me down. So hold on. Let's see. All the haters out there. I mean, I've got, and I know I got some. We're starting now to engage with the voters out there. So again, all those who are at least open-minded enough to take this seriously, to look at, I think, what truly can be the best representation for this district, but get caught off on some tangent and just in the wrong direction. So all those haters, open back up. You're not holding me down. You're not holding me down. I'm going forward, fast forward. But shout out to you, okay? On the kind of the love side, though, I just, the supporters, and there are many. I got many more supporters than detractors. I just, my parents, my sisters, my wife, my kids, and all the neighbors. I tell you, all the neighbors of Glenwood Park, North Elmwood Park, thoroughly supportive. I appreciate you all so much. Continue to be with me. I enjoy serving you as your vice president over here in Glenwood Park. I'll continue doing that. And hopefully we can propel this campaign to where I'm representing all of District 5. So I appreciate you. And just those behind the scenes I don't even hear from, they just doing stuff I don't even know about. I get messages all the time about you just don't know how much or who's doing what for you. So those who are even anonymous, if you out there, I appreciate you. And those even who are detractors and they're anonymous, they won't come out. They won't show me their faces. Yeah, you get a shout out too. I got love for everybody. So appreciate the world. I mean, Atlanta is a special place. This district is, very eclectic and eccentric. And also those voters out there. I mean, we're going to all, fortunately, we got this right, this responsibility to vote. So go out and vote. Please, everybody. Vote Baicote, of course, but go out and vote. Everyone should participate in this democracy. And if you don't, like I said earlier, you can't complain. If you're staying home, if you're not voting for whatever reason, get out there and vote. So got love for all the voters. Please get out there. November, that's Tuesday, November 2nd, and exercise that right.
So yeah, most def. We got to go ahead and shout out your family for uplifting you. I call it holding it down because it's people that's been in your corner since day one. Your children, your family, just everybody that's in support in Sam's corner. Shout everybody out. That's amazing. I also want to go ahead and shout out the voters. If you haven't shown interest in that, that's cool. But this is a very special, chance for you to voice what you want in your community. Now, somebody was saying the other day, what you don't vote is what you end up accepting. So if you don't take your opportunity, your right of voting and expressing your voice as to what you want, then you're just accepting what's coming, regardless of what that looks like. And we have an opportunity here, guys, to make our voice count, to make our vote count. Let's take advantage of that. So Sam, I appreciate you. What's your website? Where can we go meet you on your website, your social media, so we can follow you?
Yeah, please do. If you're ready to get on board, come follow us. If you're still not quite there, still do the same thing. Go to the website at votebaicote.com. And that Baicote rhymes with vote. We always say just vote Baicote. So again, it's vote Baicote, all one word, votebaicote.com. Again, as we know how to spell vote, V-O-T-E, but then it's B-A-C-O-T-E. So votebaicote.com. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Baicote for DIST5. So that's B-A-C-O-T-E, the number 4, DIST, D-I-S-T, as it would stand for district, but just DIST and then the number 5. Same thing at Instagram. It's just at Baicote for DIST5. We've got some exciting announcements that get up there regularly. Please follow us. But if you want to know more about me, just again, the website's the best place to go to read up on, where I've been, what I'm doing now. You can see some videos up there, testimonials. You can see quotes from others, some endorsements. Just check us out there too. Thanks so much.
Most def, Sam. So I know you're very busy right now. So I just want to go ahead and thank you for making time out of your busy schedule to come in on my show. This is the first time, it's not the last time. So when you got a new project, you're doing something big in the community, go ahead, hit me up. We'll bring you back on. But until next time, Sam, thank you.
Thank you too. Really enjoyed it. And as you put it, looking forward to the next opportunity.
Most def. Peace.
Make sure to follow House of Ramirez on all social media platforms.